out of the final turn. They sprint down start and finish straight. This is to complete the 25th lap of the race. This wonderful fight for second position. It's Marcello Hahn in the DriveX Mercedes, from Alex West in the Garage 59 McLaren, then Michael Mack in the Spirit of Race Ferrari. They all close up on a somewhat slow Mercedes. Marcello Hahn deep and heavy on the brakes into turn one. It catches out the McLaren a little bit, catches out the Ferrari as well. And get the feeling that Marcello Hahn has not got an enormous abundance of grip underneath him. He's also had his team manager summoned to race control with immediate effect, which is worth keeping an eye on. But you can just see, oh, when he slithers very, very wide out of turn 6, defends into turn 7. But again, doesn't leave the door open. Who attacks when is the question, as Harney's struggling to stop the car really for each and every turn, and they're all piling up behind him. They're about to be rejoined by Mario Plasciuta. They're going to have Norbert Siedler in this battle as well momentarily in the Farnbacher Racing Lexus, as still Hahn prevails in second place. There's the Lexus in the background. Here comes the Ferrari on the McLaren, and the Lamborghini bobs and weaves as well behind. Towards turn 14, this is Michael Mack's opportunity, is it? He goes to the inside of Alex West and takes the place. Michael Mack goes third, West slips to fourth. Andrea Fontana looks to fight as well. Tries to dart to the inside of the McLaren. West has absolutely none of it, and with perfectly good reason. There's still a podium potential here for West, and there is also the Pro-Am class victory available to him, because you just don't feel that Marcello Hahn is going to be able, the way the Mercedes is moving around underneath him, to maintain this sort of pace through to the checker flag as Michael Mack flashes his headlights. Hahn breaks deep. Mack wide in, looks for the switch back on the outside. The Mercedes is poised. Here's another look at the move from Mack to the inside of West. Draws alongside, textbook stuff. Here we go then, down out of turn 3, and Michael Mack is right with Marcello Hahn. West, Fontana, Plasciuta, Siedler, they're all part of this scrap as well. Giovanni Venturini is closing at a rate of knots as well. And so, which of these cars for the podium, which of these cars for the Pro-Am class win? The overall race win now looking very secure for Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda. Result of this redoubtable defence from Marcello Hahn. And it almost looks as if the Mercedes is in pain as he takes it through the chicane. But he's not blocking unduly. He's not doing anything he shouldn't be. He's just putting together a very solid defensive drive, focusing on his corner exit speeds, not risking the car where he knows it's a little bit weaker. But Mack again looks for the run into turn 14. Hahn to the middle of the road. Slows the field through the turn, hugs the inside line as they head towards the hairpin at turn 15, scrabbles against the understeer as they climb uphill, as the Vodafone Ferrari of Michael Mack. Oh, and there's a 5-second penalty for Marcello Hahn because they didn't serve their full pit handicap, and as a result, that car, although it's second on the road, it's going to have 5 seconds added to its race time, having emerged too early from the pits. And that just adds another complexion to it as Fontana launches the inside of Alex West, gains the place. And for West, he now needs to stay within 5 seconds of Marcello Hahn. Hahn still defends the place, squeezes out Michael Mack, defending through turns 3. So on adjusted time, Hahn is actually down to 7th in the race overall, but he's second on the road. He's got this queue of cars lined up behind him, and he's proving impossible to overtake. Out of turn 6 towards turn 7. The clock ticks downwards, 10.5 minutes to run. Norbert Siedler in the Farnbacher Lexus joining in as well. This is a good opportunity for the Farnbacher team to add some points to their tally. As everybody filters through. And Michael Mack is all over the tail here of Marcello Hahn. Andrea Fontana up into 3rd position. Right with Michael Mack as well. And Mack just cannot find a way past this Mercedes. And this is the Hungaroring paradox, which is even if you're appreciably quicker, you can't find a way past. That's robust in defence from Marcello Hahn, but it's too little too late. And Fontana's going to sneak past as well. So Mack and Fontana both released into second and third position. Hahn looks to fight back with immediate effect to the inside of Andrea Fontana. He does more. Oh, he spins. Around he goes. And fortunately, everybody takes evasive action as Marcello Hahn spins away his chances, was just pushing that little bit too hard after lap upon lap of defence. So now, where does that leave us? Well, Victor Bouveng leads the race. Second place is Mikael Mack. Third, Andrea Fontana. This now is the fight for the Pro-Am class victory between Alexander West and Mario Plasciuta. Third of the Pro-Am cars is Vitantonio Liuzzi. As here we see, again, the move on Hahn. And then around he goes. In fact, Hahn has recovered. He is still third in the Pro-Am class, with a 5-second penalty hanging over his head. Immediately now, Mack released into clear air. The exam question to Victor Bouveng in 8 minutes is 15.9 seconds, which feels very unlikely. Meanwhile, here comes Marco Ciocci in pursuit of Kang Ling and Vitantonio Liuzzi. Ciocci in the red Ferrari, the gold Lamborghini of Ling, and then you've got the Roger Dubois backed Triple F Racing Lamborghini of Vitantonio Liuzzi. They are fighting over 9th, 10th and 11th place. Meanwhile, Mario Plasciuta under pressure from the Farnbacher Racing Lexus of Norbert Seidler. Seidler looking to move up into 5th place. And they've got Giovanni Venturini, the championship leader, just behind them as well. And as has been the case so often this season for the #1 Imperiale Racing Lamborghini, they pick up the points each and every outing. So Bouveng's last lap was a 1 minute 46.8. The lap for Mikael Mack was a 1 minute 44.2. So Mikael Mack taking 2.5 seconds out of Victor Bouveng over that last lap. And if Mack had just got through a lap or two earlier, well, the chase would have really been on. As it is, the Ferrari can certainly look to start applying some pressure to BMW. Meanwhile, in third, it's Andrea Fontana Wilch in the fight for fourth. Alex West from Mario Plasciuta, then Norbert Seidler and Giovanni Venturini. Fight for ninth remains very, very tight through the first turn. Liuzzi, though, again, just managing, staying in control of the race. Race clock ticks downward. There's a delegation probably heading towards race control now to beg for an extra 10 minutes to be added to the race because it's been absolutely magnificent. We've had more comings together further down the field between Antonio Coimbra and Marcio Basso, Sporting New Racing teammates. The GTM class currently led by Antonio Coimbra, although Martin Conrad is on the cusp of picking his way past the Portuguese. Oh, and across the chicane, both Liuzzi and Ling. Ciocci takes the moral high ground. He stays on the road. And here is a look at Norbert Seidler, looking to the inside of Mario Plasciuta. Plasciuta runs wide. Seidler gains the place. So does Venturini, as here comes Lance DeArnold in 12th place, but he's about to join the scrap in front. So Seidler up into 5th position. And that move on Mario Plasciuta is going to more or less secure the Pro-Am class victory for Western Ledegard, as Venturini has a little bit of a look to the inside of the Lexus. Seidler gives racing room, but no space to Venturini to be able to thrust his way past. Venturini darts one side, then the other, tries to jink to the inside. We're getting to that point of the season at the checkered flag today. Just 6 races to run for the International GT Open, where every point is absolutely critical. Front of the field, there's been an elevation of pace, by the way, from Victor Bouveng. So although Mikael Mack is closing, he's not closing anything like a rate that's going to cause Bouveng concern for the checkered flag. So it is this fight for 5th, which could become a fight for a little bit more than that, because West is in amongst some traffic. It's Ivor Dunbar, the FF Course Ferrari. Caught an opportune place for Alex West. Same for Norbert Seidler. Less opportune for Giovanni Venturini, who now works around the Ferrari. So Seidler released to try and close up onto the Garage 59 McLaren. Headlights being flashed from Seidler, but West has got his own championship to race for here. So he's not exactly going to leap aside and allow the Lexus to come romping through. Meanwhile, Chiocci is back with Kang Ling. They've been joined by Lance D'Arnold. They've still got Vitantonio Liuzzi right in front of them. And this is one of those races where you really don't know where to look, because everywhere around the track there are some very, very close wheel-to-wheel tussles. In this one, the 2 Lamborghinis fending off the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Kang Ling, graduate of the Euro Formula Open, chasing the former F1 racer, Vitantonio Liuzzi. Liuzzi just out over the curb, trying to get everything he can from the Triple F Lamborghini as the pair of them hurtle down the start and finish straight. Which side will Ling go? Is there an opportunity? Liuzzi to the middle of the road, Ling to the outside. Opens up a little bit of a window for Marco Chiocci that Ling is quick to shut, because the chance is still live to overhaul. Triple F Lamborghini is again. Liuzzi closes out the inside line. Ling looks to the outside, will then aim for the cutback. Liuzzi wise to that. Chiocci tries to play himself into the mix as well. Ling having to attack and defend simultaneously. This fight for 9th climbs through turns 5 and 6, then on towards the hairpin at turn 7. They're joined by the SPS Automotive Mercedes of Lance D'Arnold. These are all Pro-Am Championship points as West gets passed by Norbert Seidler. So Seidler finds a way past West up into 4th place. That is important for the Farnbacher Lexus in terms of championship points. Venturini also looking to try and make the move on the McLaren as they head towards turn 14. And he's able to slip past, gains the position. We've got 5 seconds added to Vitantonio Liuzzi's race time. And we've also had the same for Alex Moiseev. Slightly moot point, sees in the pits. Here's another look at it. Oh, Seidler, very opportunistic. Sees half a gap, able to take it. And now it means that West suddenly slips back into the clutches of Mario Plasciuta in the battle for Pro-Am class honours. 2 laps to run. So they're in to what's going to be the penultimate lap of the race. And the battle for 6th and 7th for the Pro-Am win. This is the fight for the AM class victory between Antonio Coimbra and Martin Conrad. They've been together for the past 3 or 4 laps, and now it really is closing up, as is this battle ahead. Now Liuzzi, essentially, we put him to the back of this queue because he's got 5 seconds penalty due to track limit violations from the car during the race. The front of the field, Mikael Mack has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:43.9, and is now just 9.3 seconds adrift to Victor Bouveng. Yeah, but for another 2 laps for Mikael Mack. As Chiocci, again, hassling Kang Ling, fighting for 10th and 11th position. Lance D'Arnold just in behind them. Smile of sorts for Miguel Ramos. And I think in the final equation, they will, here Mikael Mack may well take a 2nd and a 3rd place as the result from the weekend, as the race leader has started the final lap. This quartet fighting their way through. The gap from Bouveng to Mack, by the way, 8.4 seconds. That's not going to particularly close down. 3rd place, Andrea Fontana, still comfortable. Watching them coming past the country box window, as here is the race leader, Victor Bouveng. We have not seen a whole heap of Victor Bouveng. We've not needed to, because Fran Ueda put the car on pole position, and he and Bouveng, as they did in race 2 at Paul Ricard, have controlled things to perfection, and it's going to, once more, bring them hurtling up the championship standings. The championship positions potentially going to look very different at the end of today. They did at the start of it. Hendrick still moves aside in the Lamborghini, allows Bouveng to pass him. Still plenty of places that could well change over the course of this last lap of the race. Not so much for the lead, or indeed the top 3 positions, but the Pro-Am class fight between Western Plasciuta still very live, as is the Antonio Coimbra and Martin Conrad battle for the Am class. Teo Martin, there's to the right of your picture, alongside Fran Rueda on the pit wall, waiting for their car to come back into view. And it's not going to be long now, because climbing uphill, it's been a really fine day in the sun for the Teo Martin Motorsport BMW team. Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng are going to score their 2nd victory of the International GT Open season, as Bouveng accelerates out of the final turn, takes the checkered flag, and the acclaim of the Teo Martin Motorsport BMW team. 2nd place goes to Mikel Mack and Miguel Ramos. A charging drive from Mack, a big smile from Miguel Ramos. Andrea Fontana and Vito Postiglione take 3rd. But who is going to finish in 4th? It's Norbert Seidler who comes into view. 5th to Giovanni Venturini, so more points to him. And 6th position and victory in the Pro-Am class goes to Alex West and Com Ledegard from Mario Plasciuta and Thomas Jaeger. Here comes the rest of this scrap as they wind their way uphill, as Lance Arnold looking to make the move on Sciocci through the final turn. Sciocci has none of that, so as they cross the line, we now turn our attention to the Am class battle. It's 2 corners to run between Antonio Coimbra and Martin Conrad. And Conrad, he's running out of options here, running out of time. It's going to have to be a last corner lunge, but he's not quite close enough to Coimbra, and he runs wide. So Antonio Coimbra and Luis Silva take Am class honours. They take the class victory, an excellent 14th place overall at the end of what has been comfortably the best race that we've had in the International GT Open this season, and one of the best races that we've had in the history of the championship. That was absolutely magnificent racing. And Victor Bouveng and Mikel Mack, very deserving winners as they celebrate en route to Parc Fermé. We'll take a check of the final classification. So Bouveng and Rueda win it, 8.5 seconds clear of Ramos and Mack, with Mikel Mack setting the fastest lap of the race. Vito Postiglione and Andrea Fontana completing the podium. Com Ledegard and Alex West win